Hi everyone, my name is Nicole and welcome to my somatics channel, and today we're going to do a somatic practice for feeling into our own boundaries. So a somatic practice for feeling into our own boundaries can be really powerful because it can translate out into the real world and gives us time to kind of notice where our boundaries might be with other people or things or events, and what we want to maybe keep at a distance or keep out or invite in or bring a little closer. So we're going to do some experimenting with that today. Everything's an invitation and everything is a choice, so you get to choose. Today is going to be a standing practice. You do have the option of sitting if you'd like, and you are totally welcome to do that. I just prefer to do the standing, so you choose what feels best for you, and we'll get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are just going to settle into our space, and I like to do this through an exercise called orienting. So it just signals to our body that the space that we're in, so we can actually like show the body that it's safe rather than just telling it. So we're looking around our space, and actually, as you do this, you want to do it slowly if you can. And you can look right in front of you if that feels more comfortable, or out to the sides. Just notice what you prefer. So as you do this, notice where your eyes naturally go. So I know you guys can't see this, but I have some embroidery over there. So that's kind of where my eyes actually naturally go. And then maybe I look up and behind me. And just notice what your eyes fall on. Notice the colors that you're seeing in the room, the way the light falls on the walls or the objects. And maybe there's patterns that you're seeing, and just notice what your eyes naturally are drawn to, and then how your neck and head follow that. And then just come back to the center, and you can just have a soft gaze. Eyes can be open or closed. Choose what feels best for you, and you can experiment as well. Let's just come into the body and notice what that was like. So in somatics, we like to pause and notice after, and that's where we can learn a lot and notice a lot and build capacity. So somatics are slow, and we're noticing and we're integrating. There can be a lot of data-rich information in going slow. So just noticing, letting kind of everything settle. Noticing the feet and the legs, the hips, the torso, and the arms, and the head, and just where you are. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to notice our feet. So we're going to notice how our feet, or if you're sitting, your hips, connect to the surface that you're on. So I want you to do this by shifting your weight back and forth or in a circle. And if you do this really slowly, notice how the pressure changes on the feet, or if you're sitting on the hips. And really notice, can you feel all your toes? Can you feel the edges of your feet? You lean back a little, not too much. Can you feel your heels? Just notice how your feet make contact with the ground or the surface that you're on. Okay, and let's let that settle. And now I want you to notice, is there any way you could feel more stability where you are right now? So if that's adjusting your seat or your feet, maybe they want to be wider. Maybe they're perfect the way they are. Maybe they want to be more narrow. So just notice. And then if you want, you can kind of, again, if you're sitting, shift your weight back and forth. And if you're standing, try bending your legs just a little, and just feel that strength, that stability in the legs. Okay. And now we're going to notice the boundaries on our skin. So the way we're going to do this is you can either swipe, we'll call it swiping. You can swipe your arms, you can pat, or you can do like a gentle squeeze. So just choose what feels best for you. And as you do this, notice the sensation. Notice the squeezing or whatever motion you're doing. And you can look at your arm. And as you do this out loud or in your head, you can just say, this is my arm and this belongs to me. Maybe give your hand a little squeeze and then let that rest. And notice how one arm feels to the other. And this can be a really great exercise if you ever have trouble sensing your body or sensing sensations or emotions in your body. This is a great place to start, just sensing your own touch to your arm. So we're going to switch. So now I'm squeezing my right arm. If you just switch arms, doesn't matter. So again, we can swipe or brush, maybe that's a better word. You choose. It's always your choice. You can squeeze or you can do a tapping motion. So notice what feels best. So again, I'm going to do that squeezing motion. Notice how much pressure you like. This is all about choice and you making choices and noticing what you prefer, what you want. It's about your agency here. So yeah, moving up. And as you do this, you can just say, this is my arm and it belongs to me. You can give the hands a little squeeze. And then just notice that. Notice how that feels. So I'm noticing a lot of heat in my arms. I can notice where my hands were on my arms. And if I was to take a picture of my body as a whole, where my attention goes, it's my arms. That's what I'm feeling the most right now. Maybe a little on my feet. You don't have to be feeling the same as me, just notice. Maybe there's a tingling or a buzzing, or maybe you're not feeling much at all. So just notice, that's all we're doing. Okay. Now that we've done this, we've made contact with our skin, our own personal boundary, we're going to just draw out a boundary. So we're going to look at our hands. You can even say hello, hands, and just feeling into the palms. You can just put them up like this, noticing that your hands are up. And then we're just going to draw out a boundary. So you can kind of push out gently. And notice where you want your hands. How much of a boundary do you want? Maybe it extends way past your hands. And so you can just energetically think of that or imagine that your arms are much longer. And then we're just going to draw out a boundary. So you can go to the sides. You can go back behind you, above you, and just kind of do this organically. It's a bit of a free-for-all. And just drawing out your boundary with your hands. And as you do this, you can just say, this is my space, either out loud or in your head, okay? So just keep doing that. Notice where the arms are moving. Feel the power and the strength in your arms, or feel your biceps, your triceps, your hands. And as you do this, you can say, this is my space. This is my space. I know for me, maybe there's a place you really like to draw that boundary. And for me, it's behind me. This is my space. This is my space. Okay, so keep doing that. Notice if there's a part of your space that you want to just reinforce those boundaries and go over again. This is my space. Okay, and then slowly just drop that, and you can come back to a neutral position, feeling the feet, and we're going to let that settle and integrate. Okay, this is where the magic happens in our nervous system. So just noticing the feet and noticing, how did that practice feel? And see if you can notice sensations rather than maybe like labeling it with like an emotion or something like that. So like, I feel warm, I feel buzzy, there's some tenseness here, or there's something feels, hard in my body, or there's some buzzing, or something feels open. Something feels warm, maybe something feels a little bit cooler. So just noticing all of that and how it feels. And if something is feeling unpleasant, we can go to something pleasant. And if there's not something pleasant in the body, then we go to the external, okay? Whether that's something that we see in our environment or a memory or just something that feels comforting to you. And if you can find some ease in the body, sometimes like the hands or the feet, or you can even go to the tip of the nose, that can feel really neutral and pleasant. So just noticing. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to think about something maybe you want to invite in. Maybe that's a person, maybe that's a treat. Maybe you want to invite a treat in. Maybe it is an animal or a plant you really love, or just like a hobby, but things that you want in your boundaries. So we've created that boundary. We get to decide what comes in and out. So just bring that to mind. Things that you like, things that you want in your space, in your boundary. And as you think of that, you can just bring that in wherever you'd like. You can I'm bringing it right to the body, but you could bring it right to the external part of your space as well. And we're just imagining this and notice how that feels. So I'm just thinking of a friend that I'm very comfortable with, and just when I think about that friend, it's like my body just relaxes a little bit. I can feel a little dropping in my back and in my pelvis. I can really feel my feet. Okay, so that person's allowed in. Okay, so just think of other things you want to allow in. Maybe it's a hobby or something you love to do. So bring that stuff in. Okay, just imagine bringing it in. Notice your boundary. And notice what is allowed in, and that you got to choose that came in. So yeah, just bringing, maybe there's something that you really love to do. Maybe you have a hobby. Maybe you just like being in nature. What does it feel like to make a choice to bring that in? And just notice how that feels and how that settles in the nervous system or in the body. So for me, I'm feeling kind of like a warmth that moves out this way across my chest. I can really feel my feet. And I can feel some warmth into my face, like almost like a smile, just the beginning of a smile. So just noticing that. And eyes can be open or closed. And then let's just drop that. And just take a big scoop of nothing. And just notice how that feels. So we've done a bit of work, letting as if this was like the ocean or maybe a lake that got stirred up, and just letting the sand and the silt settle to the bottom. Noticing the arms, noticing the feet, noticing the legs. And then just one more time, we're going to come back to drawing our boundary. So for some reason, I felt like I needed to take a wider stance. So see if you want to adjust your stance at all. And if you make that decision, notice what it feels like to notice that and make that decision for yourself. Okay, and then let's draw our boundaries again. This is my space. This is my space. This is my space. Okay, so just getting kind of creative with this. You can use your eyes to follow your hands. Notice if there's a place you really want to just reinforce that this is your space. And notice if there's any other movements that you want to take right now. Maybe you want to move the hips, the arms. And let's just let that settle. Excellent work. All right, so just acknowledging what you've done today, that you took time to do this, to notice your space, to notice your boundaries, what it feels like to take up space, what it feels like to invite things in and keep them out. And I would love it if you were able to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. And you can always go to my website, which is linked in the description, if you'd like more information or if you'd like to work with me. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.